Rambam, Hilchos Avodim, Perik Beis, Halacha Aleph says, and Eved Ivri, that Beis Din sells, Shemachro Beis Din, is nikna bekesef, ubeshava kesef, and the shtar. Rambam explains how we're going to go about writing a shtar. What kind of lashon is written in the shtar? Rambam says, Kaisav loy, hareini mocher lach, I am sold to you. Hareini kanu lach, I'm acquired to you. But nice and shtar. And then this is talking about machru Beis Din. So the minchas chinuch in mitzvah mem beis ois yud, every maskul b'kain of b'shtar has a question. If Beis Din is selling him, what do you mean when you write hareini mocher lach? Especially, it's also against his will. If he doesn't want to be sold, he has to. Beis Din sells him anyway. So, what's this hareini mocher lach? I'm sold to you. It should say ish pleni ish Aseh mocher lach. Just like a person sells his karka, he says sadai, this piece of karka is sold to you. So the Eved Ivri, or Visser Zalman, and writes that the Rambam's kavana is definitely also on Mecher Atzmai and Machro Beis Din. You write hareini mocher lach. And so we're really left with the minchas chinuch's kasha. By Mecher Beis Din forces him to be sold off if he doesn't have money to pay, if he doesn't have any assets. Since he's forced to, he has to do it. He does it against his will, but he writes the lashon shtar is, I am sold to you. Now, Rav Visser Zalman goes into a long raya that you can't force a person to go to work. Of course, you can't force a person to become an Eved Kanani, an Eved Ivri, but you can't even force a person to take a job and pay off his debt. It's a long-winded raya, and I'm show you why I bring it in a minute. He says in the Chesh Mishpat, it says Siman Chaf Zayin Sif Tes Zayin. It says that you can't force a person to rent himself out, to hire himself out to pay his chayva, and all you can do is find some asset and collect from that. And we're going to explain what the point here is. Oh, and now the Gra brings down that you learn that out from Daf Yud Ches Amud Aleph, the Arv Sugyas of Eved Ivri, which says that the only heter to sell a person who's not compliant in paying off his debt is if he stole something. But you can't sell even if he stole something and he doesn't have any money and assets to cover the kefil, even you don't sell him off. But he has assets to cover the keren. He's still and he won't have any money to pay the kefil. Tough, you don't sell him off. Whereas you see from over here that you can't sell a person. That the Gra says we see from over there that you can't sell a person for his debts, only for gzeila. Now, so the Rav Visser Zalman says we only see that that you can't sell him off as an Eved Ivri for his debts. It says that you can't force him to hire himself out. The Gra says that you learn from the fact that on Yud Ches Amud Aleph that you can't sell him for his other debts. Therefore you can't force himself to hire out. He can say I'm going to sit at home and I'm going to collect Social Security and if I don't have assets, so I owe you. And maybe you could put a little lien on the Social Security. I guess you need Kedei Chayav. You have to leave him, let him have. Anyway, what if he wants to live with handouts? He doesn't have to. He can't be forced to hire himself out. And this you learn out from Daf Yud Ches. And that's now the problem. Rishonim says it all. It says over there is that you can't sell him as an Eved Ivri. I said you can't force him to hire himself out. Now, okay. Okay. The end. So the answer is because the way he's learning, the way you see the Gro's learning is Beis Din doesn't sell off the Eved Ivri as a punishment because he stole and now he doesn't have some. No, he sells them off because it's just a method. It's just a means of extracting payment. So if you can't sell them off for other reasons, that means that you can't extract payment through any other way, other than attaching his assets, being gzeila. And all that Beis Din, when Beis Din sells off the Eved Ivri, Beis Din is just acting instead of the person himself, who should really be paying off his debt, but can't be forced to hire himself out. He can only take his assets, and except in the case of gzeila, Beis Din can force him into a mechira, but no other debt. So that means that it's a din in collection. There is no right to collect from a person who's unable to pay, other than by gzeila, and it's a halacha. No, but if the din would be because it's a punishment, and Beis Din has a right to force him, so then all we see then is that the punishment doesn't apply to any other debt. But who said that? Therefore, you can't force him to hire himself out, because only Beis Din has only it says is that you can't sell him for an Eved Ivri. But the answer is that the answer is because you see from here that the guy is learning that it's not a punishment. It's not the fact that he's getting punished and Beis Din has the right to sell him off for his gzeila. No, it's a chiyuv because of his it's a kind of a means of extracting money out of him. So you might think that if the Torah says you can't sell him off for any other kind of debt, in other words, you learn it from over here that there is no means to extract payment out of him for any debt that he can't cover, and he can't hire him out either. The Miri decides that doesn't hold like this. Miri on this daf, Yudal Amud Beis, says that it's different maskal Eved Ivri. That it's not like the Rambam by Machro Beis Din. You don't write. Oh, so of course Beis Din writes that I sell myself. I hereby sell myself. The reason is because he's paying, and all Beis Din is doing is forcing him to pay. It's not that Beis Din has the right to sell him. Beis Din just can right to force him to pay in this manner. So he has to sell. So therefore he writes Hareini Mocherlach. But the Miri says no. You don't write Hareini Mocherlach. You write that Beis Din is Harizek Mocherlach. This person is sold to you because Beis Din has the kayach. Now, so we have a machlokes whether the din of nimfer b'gnei vasai is a chiddush in din of collection, and din gevia, because according to the Rambam, it's in Scottish that there's a kind of there's a din of a gevia for tashlumi gneva through selling yourself as an Eved Ivri, but according to the Miri, there's no only kind of a collection that you can do is on his assets, and so where do you get this? Where do you get this that the Beis Din sells them off? The answer is it must be an einish, and the Torah is mechanish that you can give an einish to a person for stealing, but not you can't get the einish of selling yourself off as an Eved Ivri does not apply to any other kind of indebtedness, right? So therefore, there's a difference in the lashon, right? Now, what will be about what will the what about according to the Miri, what will be if a person owes money and it's not an isser? See, according to the Miri, it's only because it's a punishment. What if a person owes money but it's not an isser? So therefore, maybe there, if it's not an isser, it turns out. Let's go back to, let's say we have a machlokes what the lashon and the shtar will be, but it turns out there is no nafkamina and din. Nobody holds that you can sell, not the Miri, not the Rambam. Nobody holds that you can sell a debtor as an Eved Ivri, and nobody holds that you can force him to hire himself out. All you can do is collect from his assets, and those are because of psukim. But the question is in the case of an Eved Ivri, is it also a matter of collection? And there we do allow some means of forcing him to, if he doesn't have any assets, forcing him to come up with some money, and that will be by selling his Eved Ivri. So therefore, since he's forced to do it, he's the one who's selling. So therefore, he writes Hareni Machalach, but according to the Miri, it's a punishment, and nowhere do we force anybody to pay off his debts by doing anything other than we can only take his assets away from him, and hence no one can force anybody to pay off his debts. And in the case of and therefore when you write a shtar and you write Hareni Konilach, even if you write Beis Din writes Harezek Konilach, that I'm selling them to you because they have the right to. So now it's according to the Rambam that it's halachin gzeila. So you might think that so therefore he has to really do it himself. He's forced to sell himself. That's a lashon in the shtar. But according to the Miri, there's no ever such thing as a result of collection. I can force a person to sell himself as an Eved Ivri, even by gneva. So it's Beis Din that's doing it. And now why? I mean, it's a chiddush to say that it's that Beis Din can make a sale of for to pay off the gneva. If no one can ever collect, I mean, you can't force a guy to hire himself out. You can't sell him to pay off the kafel part of the gneva. So why learn that it's and you can't? So why learn that it's a punishment? Well, it would seem that it's that you can't ever force anybody to pay other than through collecting his assets, and except in the case of gneva, right? And the answer is and it's also, and what would be the Rambam's reason why you can force a guy to pay off his debts and allow the debtor to collect, of the creditor to collect, because he did an avera. So it's in both cases you got to use the avera part. So what's the answer is that in a stam debt there is no chiyuv hashava. I owe you, but not because the Torah says Hoshev Chivim Vheshiv is gzeila. There's no chiyuv mitzvah here. There's no chiyuv Vheshiv. All there is, I borrowed money, so I owe you. It's got nothing to do with Vheshiv, right? So by gneva there is a mitzvah of Vheshiv. So Miri learns that therefore, as a result of Vheshiv, Beis Din was given a kayach to force a sale. Now, it's not the pshat is that it's a halacha of a collection. It's a right by the creditor. No, it's a kayach of the Beis Din. It's a din in Beis Din. The Beis Din sells them off. What we have here then is a machlokes if the Vheshiv Hagzeila is forces the sale, or it's a regular halacha that this is a means, just an additional means for a creditor to collect his debt by gneva. You have a special means of having Beis Din sell him as a Eved Ivri, but it's just a kind of collection. What is the machlokes? Where do we see such? What would be that? What would be the behind? What's behind this machlokes? Whether and the Miri holds no, because there's Vheshiv. There's never, you can never force anybody to do anything other than you can just take away his assets to pay a debt. But here that there's halacha, as a mitzvah, there's a chiv of Vheshiv, as a gzeila, then you can sell him. And Beis Din has a right to sell him, not that he's doing it as himself. No, Beis Din's forcing it on him as, because they're it's a kind of their kaifin is mishum the mitzvah. What's this machlokes? Have we ever seen this machlokes before? The answer is yes. In Marcus, Daf Tezayin Amud Aleph, we have a machlokes by a lava nitikla Aseh, right? Well, regular lava nitikla Aseh, you don't get a malchus on. For example, if you didn't burn the korban during its the time limit, some korbanos can't have to be taken care of. You can't have nicer. You have to either burn it or before the time limit is over. And then what if happens if you are commit nicer? Then there's so you are over the lav, but if you do, there's no malchus, because you always have a mitzvah say that takes care of it, and that's called a lav. You burn it the next day, as if you have anything left over, you burn it. For example, main example is korban pesach. You eat your korban pesach before the morning. Actually, we want you to eat it before chatzos. So, but if you do leave it over? What if you have left over? Stuff for the next day? Then you have a mitzvah say of v'hanoiser. You make sreifa, and therefore you don't get a malchus. Now, there are some. What if a guy works it out so that you can never do the Aseh again? Then we say that you do get a malchus. Okay, what? But now, admitted he's over and he's mavatal the Aseh. And he's garam that there's no more possibility of doing the Aseh. Right? We have a machlokes. How bad does it have to be? In Marcus we have a machlokes bitli kaima. What if you had a chance to do the Aseh and you didn't do the Aseh? Then do you get a malchus, or no? Since you had a chance, okay, you blew it, but now you can have another chance. As long as you have a chance, the possibility exists that you can take care of the Aseh after the lois Aseh. Then you're not going to get a malchus, and the only way you're going to get a malchus is if you made it certain that there can't be any way there can't be any more possibility of doing the Aseh. Then you get a law for the malchus. So in other words, if the lashon in the Mishnah and the Brisa is if you weren't, it's questionable. If you hold, it's either if you, it goes like this: if you do the avera, and then you do the aseh, you don't get a malchus. But if you don't do the avera, then you will get a malchus. And the question is, what does it mean you don't do the avera? So one lashon, there was two versions. One girsa was in the time of the Tanoim. There was a machlokes what the girsa in the Mishnah was, and the brisa was. One girsa was if you're mavatal the mitzvah, which means that you can't made it so that you can't do the aseh anymore. Then you get a malchus. Another lashon was if you're mekayim the aseh, you don't get a malchus, and if you're not mekayim the aseh, you do get the malchus. So that means that even if you have a possibility of doing it tomorrow, but if you you were able to do the aseh, you didn't, you'll get a malchus. So we have a machlokes here. If in order to get a malchus, you have to be over the aseh and not do it, even though you have a chance to continue on, or you have to do it. You have to make it such that You can't do the Aseh. As long as there is this Aseh to do, you're never going to get a malchus. Now the more comes down to the fact that there's only two cases that we're talking about, because in all the other cases you can always end up, you can't make it so that the Aseh is gone. There's only two cases where you can cause it so that there's no more Aseh, and that's the case of the mother and the mother of the bird and the baby birds, the shalech to shalach, and so if you sent the mother away, right? If you took the chicks, right, then you're even a love, but you have the ability still to send the mother away, shalach to shalach ha'saim. Now, so what happens if you kill the mother? So then you can't do any shalach to shalach. So I mean, if you had a chance and you didn't send the mother away, so that's that. You might not be over. You're still not going to get a malchus, because you can always do it, or until you actually dispose of the aim and make it not possible anymore. So now, and then there's a second halacha. What if you you force yourself on a woman? She's a pnuya. She's not an Aseh. There's no iser. And so there's a mitzvah say, and there's a mitzvah say to take her for a wife, and you don't take her for a wife. Yeah. So you can always, let's say you had a chance. Business says, got to marry her, and you don't marry her, and the time the Beis Din gave you, but you still can. And so according to one man Diyamar, you're going to get a malchus because now that, because you had the chance to fix it up by doing the Aseh, and you didn't, so you're going to get a malchus for the ma'anis pnuya, and then but according to another man Diyamar, since you can always marry her until she dies, and then it's a night, but the others, and you can't kill her. So the answer, so Morris says, what happens if you make a neder, and you can't derive any benefit from it, you can't have anything to do with her? The halacha will be that's considered bittul aseh. You can never marry her because of that. So therefore, once you're mevatel aseh, the love is left standing alone. Now those are the only two cases. The more I asked the kasha, I got a third case. There's a case of Vheshiv gzeila, and this is a third case. And what happens? What happens if I cause myself to be penniless, or I get rid of I destroy the I'm sorry, not if I get penniless. How do I have? I don't think I can always make money later. Who knows? He takes the object, the item, and he destroys it. So now he can never return the object. So is that? So maybe you'll get a malchus for gzeila, because gzeila is a law of a nitik laseh. It's possible to correct it by returning the gzeila. But if you destroy the gzeila now, you can't anymore. So there's a third case, and so why don't we have? So if you hold that all you need is bittul, so then we don't need you to destroy it, as long as you had a chance and you didn't take advantage, and so you're over the aseh, and then you get a malchus. But if you hold that you need to make it impossible to do the aseh, until it's still possible to do the aseh, you're not going to get a malchus, so you'd have to destroy it. A simple third case, and the more says the teretz, the more uses a lashon. There's a machlokes how we learn the teretz. Taisus over there, Taisus and Zion over there. It's divrei maskal isa b'tashlumin. He says when the Gemara says it's isa b'tashlumin, all you got to do is pay money. He holds he can always pay money for the gzeila. Samela, that's considered Vheshiv. Now, that's not the actual gzeila. The answer you see from over here that according to Taisus, giving money is makayim mitzvah Vheshiv as a gzeila. But the Rambam says in halacha Hilchos Gzeila Perik Aleph halacha Aleph Sil Vaved, he says that it's lav nitan l'tashlumin. That's why you don't get a malchus. In other words, it's not that giving the money is like Vheshiv is a gzeila, but it's the Gemara meant to say once it's a lav nitan l'tashlumin, there's never any malchus, no matter what you do. Because if the payment is tashlumin, the punishment is not going to be a malchus. So that's why it's not a third case. Now that's in the Maggid Mishnah over there. It says that's how the Rambam learned the intent of the Gemara in Malchus. That there's a klal. If it's yashna, but tashlumin, it's never gonna. You never get a Malchus. But it's not the fact. It's not the case that you consider it your Makayim Vheshiv is a gzeila if you pay money. According to Rambam, paying money is not the same as giving back the actual item. Only the actual item will be considered a kiyum of Vheshiv is a gzeila, but money is not. You should also look in the Rambam Hilchos Sanhedrin, Perik Yod Ches, Halacha Beis. What according to Rambam, when you steal, you get two chiyuvim. One is Vheshiv is a gzeila, to give back the actual item, and the second is to pay money, and of course one or the other, not the both. But there's two separate chiyuvim. It's not Vheshiv gzeila does not include paying money, but according to Taisus, it is. It's there's only one Vheshiv. There's only one chiyuv that is to Vheshiv gzeila, and paying money is considered Vheshiv gzeila. Okay. Now, so that would be a machlokes. That would be a machlokes. Actually, there's machlokes Rishonim in Ruba Nispat Me'eleha Umesa Taisus Bavakama Daf Samchei Amid Aleph Anapatimna. How you learn what means Anapatimna Ba'at Shakalt, and that's another day, another dollar. Not the day here. But this will be very much nogeya our machlokes of an Eved Ivri, a ganef who sold as an Eved Ivri. And Rashi actually says that on Daf Tes Zayin in Marcus that the Ramaskal Hasam Gavra Bar Tashlumin, that if someone causes that the chayfetz is not available anymore to return, the chayfetz that was stolen, that's considered a bittul of the Aseh, but he doesn't get malchus because there's a din tashlim, and this is exactly like the idea behind the Rambam, how he learns pshat more. And you see from him that he's not makayim the mitzvah say if he returns money. It's just that because of that you don't get a malchus. Well, it turns out like this. If you hold like that, when Beis Din sells an Eved Ivri, and you give the money so what happens to the proceeds of the sale? You give the money to the Nignav, right? So according to the Rambam and Rashi, you're not being makayim the Aseh of Vheshiv is a gzeila, right? Because there's only one way to makayim the Vheshiv is a gzeila is to give back the actual item that he stole. If you had that, then you wouldn't have to sell him for an Eved Ivri. And any selling as for an Eved Ivri is because he doesn't have it, and he has to cough up money, and he doesn't have the money. So selling him would only raise money, and raise, according to Rashi and Rambam, there is no Vheshiv gzeila in giving money. So therefore, do we say that the only reason why you could sell a guy for and take the proceeds for an Eved Ivri, take the proceeds to pay for the Geneva is because it's just a means of collection, and therefore if you see that you can't do that, but for any other indebtedness, you can't. You see from there that there's no other means of collection other than taking the assets, because you could have. Why can't you sell him for an Eved to pay his debts? Why can't you all the other debts? From there you see that, and because it's halacha in Gevina, then you see that there is no other Gevina. In Gevina, there's no other means to force a payment other than Geneva, and that's because of the punishment. But it's not because and there is no, it's not a punishment, it's not a knas, an extra knas that you sell for an Eved Ivri, because anyway, you're not Makayim, and therefore I have let's learn what about the Miri. The Miri says there's a Vheshiv gzeila answers according to the Rambam. There is no Vheshiv gzeila when you pay money. Okay, so that's the Miri. The Miri holds that there is a Vheshiv gzeila because then like Taisus, we mentioned, Taisus says that in the sugya over there that paying money is like being Makayim Vheshiv gzeila. Okay. So to wrap it up, what we're saying over here is that according to the Miri, that giving back money, raising money and paying back money is your Makayim Vheshiv gzeila. So then all the reason why you sell an Eved Ivri is because he has a chiyuv of Vheshiv gzeila. Creating this money, generating this money is a kiyum of Vheshiv gzeila. So therefore, in any other debt there's no Vheshiv. So therefore there is no din that you sell them. So therefore, this is the only case where you sell them. So therefore, it's not that he sells himself to pay his debts. He's forced to sell because of the Vheshiv gzeila, and that's the lashon, and that would be the lashon according to the Miri that harei machlokes. Beis Din sort of like sells it, but according to the Rambam, that you never Makayim Vheshiv gzeila by paying money. So therefore, you're not going to be Makayim Vheshiv gzeila by raising money for by selling an Eved Ivri. So why sell them as an Eved Ivri? The answer is because it's just a means of collecting. So, but and so therefore, perhaps. So therefore, it's a kind of it's any collection that means that he's paying. So just that Beis Din has the right to force him to do this to pay. So therefore, the lashon and the shtar is harei machlokes. I am sold to you.